Joined by Ray from the digital desk. Ray, good morning. Good to see you.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. Hope you're good too.
I'm trying.
Right. Let's start off with the first story. Of course, the DCI have nabbed 8 suspects in a certain fraud case. It's around 439 trillion US dollars. That's a lot of money. Tell us about that story.
It's interesting because you began with the most controversial figure in this whole story, because the DCI have nabbed 8 suspects in that particular saga of around $439 trillion. Now, it is alleged that this mega fraud was targeting 2 businessmen from Netherlands. Of course, this was a lot of money in transit. The deal was away from what is usually normal, which is the gold saga and whatnot. This was cash in transit, it is alleged. And the suspects wanted to move all this money belonging to this quote-unquote businessman from Netherlands. The DCI said that they had already planned how to defraud $36,000 in the first consignment of the $4 billion. Of course, it is a developing story, but the most interesting bit of that story is that $439 trillion. Fatia, do you know how much that money is? Because the gross domestic product for USA alone is only $2 trillion. So $439 trillion. I and other Kenyans online were questioning, is that figure really realistic?
Is it even real in the first place?
It sounds like a movie if you listen to it, because I mean, even the money, the dollars that are in circulation right now do not even amount to that particular figure. But people were questioning, is that really the figure, or it was just blown out of proportion? Yeah,
because it sounds too big and too good to be true, sort of.
Yes, and if it is true, these people are very daring.
Yeah.
I mean, $439 trillion, that's a lot of money.
It sounds like a series you've definitely watched somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Let's move on now. KenGen fines Kenya Power, and they've imposed a fine of 364.6 million shillings. That's a lot. Tell us about that.
Oh, yes. It is involving the delayed payments that Kenya Power has defaulted on, not really defaulted on, really delayed on paying the dues that it owns to KenGen. Remember, Kenya Power purchases power from KenGen and distributes it to homes and farms across the country. And so this payment has accrued for now 40 days, and KenGen has decided not to spare Kenya Power. Remember, last year they had also fined them 847.9 million shillings just relating to delayed payments. And now this also coming at a time when power is very expensive in the country right now. It is a raging discussion. Everybody is wanting to see what happens to power prices, fuel prices also as well.
Yeah.
So Kenyans online are, you remember, by the way, Fatia, Kenya Power had recorded a loss last year, in the last financial year. So Kenyans also are questioning the viability of the people running this entity, and questioning the government and wanting it to come to terms with the reality that is Kenya Power and try and handle it before it goes out of hand.
Yeah, anything to do with electricity and power in the country is always a hot topic.
Oh, absolutely.
But something else that people have been talking about, of course, is Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. I had seen actually that video of the roof leaking in the airport. But now the Transport CS has formed an 11-member team. Tell us about that. Yes,
so the Cabinet Secretary for Transport, Kipchumba Murkomen, has formed an 11-member task force to investigate the issues at the JKIA. Remember, there was a video that surfaced, like you rightly said, that surfaced of a leaking roof at the airport. This also coming at a time when there was power issues at the airport as well, as the country was facing a nationwide power blackout. So remember, by the Kipchumba Murkomen was also on record saying that he blames the previous administration for this particular measure, because he said that there were works that were being done previously that did not, get up to standard. So now the leaking roof is being blamed on the previous administration. Kenyans online were not forgiving for that. They were telling them, it's 1 year in office. 1 year in office, you should not be blaming a regime that was there before you. But he has said that the task force will be investigating JKIA, Wilson and Moi airports for quality standards, just to try and see smooth operations. But that video of the leaking roof, that one was very popular. It was trending a lot on Twitter. I think it has more than 1 million views right now.
Yeah, I saw it too. But let's move on to something else now. We go to Kakamega, where there's a pastor who caught his wife with another man and then agreed to let her go with him. Interesting. Tell us about that.
Interesting times we live in. You know, Kakamega is usually in the news for all the wrong reasons, mostly,
right.
At least mostly. Not really wrong, all the weird reasons. But a pastor in Lurambi caught his wife with another man, and then he, of course, was very embarrassed about this whole story because it is alleged that he was attending to a funeral. He's a cleric, actually, so he was attending to a funeral elsewhere, and then another man, the former lover of the wife, came and spent the night in the house. So imagine he signed an agreement to let the wife go, but before they went, they were given a thorough beating by the public.
Of course.
The wife and the former lover. So Kenyans were really excited about this particular story, and you know, the whole issue around marriages and the whole issue around cheating, and Kenyans were really making fun of this one. It has become a meme overnight, and I don't know, man. I don't know what you think about this story.
It's rare that he actually let her go.
It's very rare. The agreement was actually very interesting for most Kenyans because they were trying to liken it to other cases of cheating and going like, you know what, maybe we should be having agreements. If you get caught me cheating, let's just sign an agreement and get done with it.
I guess the public didn't agree by actually beating them. But let's look at our final story now. Avril and Jay Blessing, that story has been trending. Musician Avril posted some pictures that she was assaulted by Jay Blessing, who is her partner. Tell us about that.
They were very, if you look at them, they are photos that you would not want to look at twice because they are not the best to see. But Avril, who's a very popular musician, doing very well in the music industry for the past couple of years, she came out and said that she'll not condone the beating that she had been allegedly receiving from Jay Blessing. Jay Blessing is also a very popular director, music director. He has also directed some of the popular shows in the country. And it seems that they are having a rift in their marriage. And Avril has come out and said, you know what, I can't deal with this anymore. But then pulled down the post again and then came out to say she had forgiven Jay Blessing. And then in his statement, Jay Blessing revealed that Avril and him had mutually agreed to separate. So Kenyans are really confused on this one because Avril also came out and reposted a song on her YouTube channel, an old song. So Kenyans are questioning, was this to divert the attention from the fact that the marriage has been going, the relationship rather, had been going through a little hitch. But the public did not acknowledge, the public actually had a big issue with the domestic violence. You know, the whole conversation around domestic violence, fights in the house, they do not condone that. And I've seen a lot of that on Twitter, people calling out the domestic violence seen in this case. Especially
this month, which is the 16 days of activism when it comes to gender-based violence. So it's a very serious thing to talk about, you know?
Yes, interestingly, Fatia, we have to note that it is not something we can immediately verify, because these are also things that are posted online. So you can never really know, but if at all it is true, we also stand against domestic violence.
Thank you for that. Of course, that has been an interesting conversation. Raymond Mude from the Digital Desk telling us what's happening on social media. Right, I want us to take a short commercial break here on News.